Hello friends, a very warm welcome to my channel. Well, in today's video we will be discussing something about the oldest mutual fund that we have in India as of now. Well, the fund that I am talking about today is UTI Master Share Unit Scheme. Well friends, before I get into more details of what the fund is, what the allocation percentage is, how much return the fund has given, let's first quickly just go through some of the basic data points about the fund. So if you see that the fund was actually started in 1986, so if you see that this particular fund has completed 33 years in 2020. So being the oldest mutual fund that we have in India, it's like almost covered 3 decades. If you look into the compound annual growth rate, the compound annual growth rate, that is CAGR, is approximately around 16%, that is 15.6277%. It has generated around 120.5 times. So friends, this 120.5 times, that percentage what I'm showing here, is not that if you invest your money in this year this will get 120 times next year, but I am calculating or I am giving you the figures as compared to the launch date. So someone who has invested their money in 1986, if they have invested 100 rupees in 1986, that 100 rupees has grown 120 times. So that is what I'm saying, that it's like the value of compounding. That's what I'm referring to. If you look into the most important pointers, the last but two pointers, uninterrupted annual dividend. So that means this particular fund house has given annual dividend across all the 33 years. There has been never any failure cases where the mutual fund have not given you any annual dividend. So it's a definitely good mutual fund, whereas they have actually maintained their well reputation in the market. This particular fund, they have always invested in large caps. So definitely, if you go by the financial definition, what are large caps? Large caps would be companies which have more than 5,000 crore market capitalization. Those are actually considered under large caps. So it would be ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, SBI, like that. Then all the major brands that you hear about, all are large caps. So this basically, this being the oldest mutual fund, it has always invested in large caps. Managed by Swati Kulkarni. Swati Kulkarni, she is the fund manager. So she is actually the fund owner of this. So if you look into further details as continuation with the investment in large caps, you'll see that this fund has 94.82% investment in Indian stocks, of which 73% is in large stocks. So you can see that it has actually done investment in only large caps. As compared to mid cap, it is 9%. If you see the comparison, it's like almost 10%. So for the 100% allocation, it's like 74% is invested in large stocks. So definitely this particular fundamental of the mutual fund that I'm talking about, which is UTI Master Share Unit Scheme, the fundamental is very strong because it has already invested in all the large caps that are available. So let's friends quickly jump to the next slide, and we'll try to see some of the more maybe fundamental or statistical data. So let's quickly jump on. So first topic that I'm discussing about is the expense ratio of this particular fund. So before getting into the data points, let's try to understand what exactly is expense ratios. Well, expense ratio is nothing but it's an annual fee. All of you are having trading accounts, right? So you always pay your broker, if you are with Zerodha or Edelweiss or Angel Broking or Sharekhan, any broker you are working with, you always pay annual maintenance fee or a fee at the end of the year, or monthly or quarterly. It depends upon vendor to vendor. But again, the expense ratio is the percentage that actually the fund house charges for the maintenance of that particular fund. So expense ratio, for example, I've given you one example. So if the fund that you have invested, say it's 20,000 rupees you have invested, and the expense ratio is 2%, that means 200 rupees is your expense fee, which the mutual fund or the broking house will actually charge. So at the end of the year, so suppose you are making say 500 rupees profit, so ideally you will see that your fund is showing you 300 rupees only, because the expense ratio is deducted from that. If you check about this particular UTI share mutual fund, the expense for this particular fund is 1.7%, whereas the industry standard is 2.19% in comparison to the same category. So all the mutual funds who actually invest in this similar category, the percentage is 2.19, whereas for this particular fund it's 1.7, which is very good. Next let's see what's the fund size. So if you see the fund size depends, if a mutual fund is having a very small fund, then it's very difficult, because if there is a very limited fund, uh, companies will not be able to decide how much percentage allocation they will be giving to that particular fund. But again, if the fund is big, then you can uniquely distribute, or you can diversely distribute among a lot of different parties. So fund size is very integral part of any mutual fund. So this fund has got a fund size of 6530, so 6530 crores is the fund house. Next is the NAV. NAV is net asset value. So net asset value is something where, because every day if you see your mutual fund statements, you'll see that there is a change in the number of units that are being allocated to you. So it's like the price, how the price of share changes. In share market, what happens is, if you buy a particular number of shares at a particular price, the total investment amount remains the same, but the current holding price keeps on changing. If the stock price goes up, you will see next day that the current holding position goes up, whereas if stock price falls, you will see that the current position falls as well. This is a fluctuation that you will always see in your stocks or in the portfolio ledger statement or whatever you say. But in case of mutual fund, you will see that the fixed amount, or the amount that you have invested, that never changes, that remains always constant. And what changes is the number of units, because every month when you actually renew, or if you are on SIP. But yes, if you have done one time investment, if you have taken a mutual fund one time, like 50,000, 100,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, you have invested at one go, definitely at that day's NAV, that day's unit price, they will allocate you a number of units as per that. But if you are on SIP mode, you will see that every month the units are changing, and as per the NAV rate, it's like, generally the NAV rate is given, whenever you check your system, you will see that the updated NAV you are getting the very next day. So generally at the end of the day, the NAV price is calculated. So once you invest in mutual fund, your money is further invested in stocks and bonds by mutual fund managers. So mutual fund NAV is the per unit latest value of all stocks, bonds held in the portfolio. So as I've told, that mutual fund is actually nothing but a combination of lot of funds. Individually you are not buying shares, but you are actually putting money in percentage amount in all those shares. So if you want to know what exactly mutual fund is, please look into my channel videos. There's a separate playlist where I have given like inputs what exactly mutual fund is. You can always get some more information and details on it. So let's quickly jump on to some basic fundamentals. So if you see that this is the information that I have collected latest by 31st January 2020. So it's just a couple of weeks back, this information I have taken. So the number of stocks that are actually invested in this particular mutual fund is 47. Number of stocks 47. Top 5 stock weightage, it means the top 5 companies which have actually invested the maximum, the weightage is 33%. So almost one third of the fund actually is covered by the top 5 company, which is very good. Say suppose there is a fund which has 40 companies, and out of those 40 companies, top 10 companies are very good, big, large caps, and all of them have like covered 80 to 90% of the fund. That means the fund is mainly covered by the large caps or the stable companies or the big brands. So this is a very good point for them. So if you see top 10 stock weightage, that is again 50%. So top 10 stocks in that particular mutual fund, in this particular mutual fund, is actually covering 49.65%, which is very good. Now let's quickly just jump to, I was discussing about this top 10 stock weight, right? So what are those top 10 stock weights? So I'm sure you have heard this name of all these stocks, and definitely if you are a good investor, definitely all of these stocks are there in your profile. Even if you don't have a large quantity, at least 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 pieces as per your capacity, you definitely have all these stocks in your portfolio. So if you look by the percentage of allocation, or the percentage by which the fund houses has actually put in the shares, so you will see the highest percentage allocation is ICICI Bank, which is 8.81%, followed by HDFC Bank, which is again 7.64%. Then Infosys, HDFC, Bharti Airtel, TCS, Axis, Kotak, L&T, and Reliance Industries. So all of these 10 companies that I've listed, these are actually the major stakeholders in this particular mutual fund. So which is 8%, 7%, 6%, 4%, 4%, 3%. So you can see that these are the main players which is actually driving this mutual fund, and that is the reason why this particular mutual fund is generating so much high CAGR year after year. So let's quickly jump into some more detailed what are the other companies that are also invested. So I'm sorry for the font because I wanted to capture this whole screen in a single page. That's why. So the top 10 I have discussed. Apart from that, you have State Bank of India, Shree Cement, Tech Mahindra, SKF, Maruti, Sun Pharma, Asian Paints, ITC, Jubilant, Pidilite. I'm sure all of you have heard of names of all these companies: Interglobe, Asia Motors, Vedant, Cipla, Balkrishna Industries. This is the Hitachi, Blue Star, AC. And then if you look into the last five, still last five companies also: Cummins India, Mahindra and Mahindra, SBI Life, Tata Motors, and Shubh Shanti Services. So maybe this Shubh Shanti Services is something that I'm not very sure about what this company is, and the allocation is also showing zero here. Some a little bit of quantity it is showing, but percentage wise it is so low that it's not actually in a good ratio. If you look into Tata Motors, the percentage allocation in Tata Motors, the number of shares that Tata Motors has invested is 20.43 lakhs, and the percentage is 0.23%. So you all know that Tata Motors is not doing good these days, and it has been not performing well for the last 3 years. But still, since the allocation is so low that 0.23% is not actually impacting anything on this particular mutual fund house. So that is the reason that top 10 or top 15, top 20 companies, if you see, all of them are mostly performing, at least even if not performing, still they are actually maintaining an equilibrium. And that is the very strong reason why this stock or why this mutual fund is very stable, and it's giving you a proper return. So if I look into some more details of how the returns you have got, so I've just compared, mainly if you look into the lower section, you will see that this is the SIP returns that you would have got if you have invested. So if you see, I have just picked up 10 years. So if you have invested on 12th February 19, that is exactly 1 year before, and say suppose your SIP amount is 1,000 rupees, that's what the standard I've taken, that every month you are putting 1,000 rupees. So your annual investment is 12,000 rupees. At the end of 1 year, you would have got 13,000 rupees. So that's approximately 8.25 return in 1 year. If you look into 2 years ratio, the amount that has been returned is 24,000 against 24,000. You have got 26,259, which is 9.41%. Against 3 years, it's 12.83. Against 5, it's 24.15, and against 10 years, it's a massive figure, 70.95. So just imagine that if someone is being invested in this particular mutual fund and they're putting money in SIP mode for the last 10 years, they actually have paid this premium. That is, if you consider it, it's like 1,20,000 rupees. But against this 1,20,000 rupees, the fund value has become 2 lakh rupees, more than 2 lakh rupees. So it's like 80% return in 10 years. It's massive. It's a massive return, you'll see. Similarly, I have just shown here the graph of how the fund has grown, and I've just considered it from 1999 to 2020. It's like the 2 decades, because this fund is 33 years old. There's no point checking 33 years old data. Just to give you an idea, if someone started SIP 20 years back with 1,000 rupees, and till date they would have given 2,49,000 as a premium, and the equivalent amount that they would have got is 11,87,000. It's like almost 12 lakh rupees. So you see, friends, on an annualized rate, if you see the year after year, definitely the rate is 13.21. Even if you are a senior citizen, still if you put your money in the bank with fixed deposits, definitely you'll not be able to reach this target which this particular fund house has given. So friends, definitely this was something I wanted to share, that this is how actually mutual funds give you return in a long term. Mutual funds is not that you book or you buy mutual fund today and you reap the benefits in just 6 months or 1 year time. You have to give mutual fund a bit time so that it grows, and definitely in future it will give you a big benefit and big returns. So friends, I hope you have liked my videos. I've tried to capture all the informations that I could. Please subscribe to my channel if you think that I'm sharing informational things which is actually helpful to you. And if you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends and colleagues, and let me know if there is something else I should be making videos on. So stay tuned to my channel, and I'll be back soon as possible. Thank you so much. Bye bye.